into an SEU presentation yet, I'm just going to give you a little reminder. During the presentations, please make sure you're using technology responsibly. If you have a phone with you, do silence it. And also understand that this is a great time to step away from outside concerns and just focus all of your attention on the work that's been done by the student who has the floor. Similarly, at the end of each presentation, there's a question and answer session. We encourage students and staff to participate in that, but we do want to remind you that it is a session for questions more than it's a session for comments. So please be very conscious when you ask your question to frame it as a question to allow the focus to stay on the student and the learning that they've done over the course of the semester. So I would like to say that over the course of working with this student this term, I have learned a lot and been very inspired by the enormous amount of empathy that I observe in this human being. Please give the floor.
So, according to a Chilean architect from Santiago, Alejandro Arapena, he says, if there's any power in design, it's the power of synthesis. The more complex the problem, the more the need for simplicity. Hello, my name is Karen Pizarro, and in this term I researched about low-income housing in the Dominican Republic. The title of my senior oral defense presentation is The Design Power of Synthesis, Framing Sustainable Housing in La Cienaga, Ozama. Let's start with a global challenge impacting many areas like in the Dominican Republic. It has been a fact that many people are moving towards the city of the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. Evidence shows that people are better off in cities, but there's a problem. For you to have an idea, out of the 5 people living in Santo Domingo, 3 are under the line of poverty. La Cienaga, which owes its name to the characteristics of its geographical environment, is a town on the bank of the Ozama River, about 10 minutes from the center of the city. In this town lives about 12,000 families, about 40,000 people in extreme poverty. That means that we will have to build in La Cienaga about 12,000 houses in the next 5 years. If we don't solve this problem, it doesn't mean that residents will stop inhabiting the area. They will come anyhow, but they will build their homes in favelas, slums, and informal settlements, like what has been happening in La Cienaga. So allow me to share a short film on the living conditions and the problems around La Cienaga.
Yo tengo 4 años aquí viviendo. Nice. Yo tengo 4 años aquí viviendo.
Yo tengo 5 años aquí.
12 años.
Yo tengo 27 años.
Ya soy de gracia.
44 años. La más bien diferente, que solamente aquí lo que había luz. Ese niño comenzó hace un tiempo aquí, yo que estaba en venezolano, a 10 pesos y a 12 pesos.
Tengo 44 años, voy a cumplir en octubre, llegando con mi muchacho, cogiendo pedacitos de pavo, vendiendo, cargando leña, vendiendo, buscando cosas. Y así he podido sobrevivir.
Entonces, por todo está cerca. Si usted mueve para allá arriba, llega a otra vez, a cualquier lado que vaya, está cerca de todos lados.
Sí, vine a trabajar y 75. Y ahí estoy.
Yo veo con un desayuno, a ver si me quiere tomar aquello. O sea, nadie dice que no. Si ya no te vamos a casa, si no te gusta, vente a la casa. Pero nadie va a decir que no, yo estoy bien aquí.
Tratan a veces, consiguen inmediatamente el consenso, porque no se sienten
Casualmente, en la casa, porque no se la puede llevar, entonces pueden ir a la vida.
No, no, en serio, no se usa para nada. Porque eso dicen que agua contaminada.
Yo no hay contaminación aquí.
O sea, ya en la época, no se va en casa, que estamos contaminados.
Está contaminado por el motivo de que ahora, cuando yo me mudé aquí, no había casi personas, eran como 5 o 6 casitas que había, pero ahora no, ahora hay demasiado casas. Y si no se han mudado tanta gente, se ha contaminado mucho.
Entre junio y noviembre, así, y el agua está ahí. Yo no la calle, yo no la a veces es difícil, el río cuando el río quiere llegar a la calle, de por aquí que sale, nos vamos ahí que la diga en la iglesia, que la mayoría de la gente por aquí cuando sube el río sube para allá, viene la gente para que se lleve los demás para allá.
Y ha buscado una organización, están viendo ahí, ¿verdad? En condiciones temerarias, condiciones temerarias, porque hemos buscado ahí en web, por la gente que salir viviendo, porque se le iba a la casa y no salió su vida. Lo mismo pasa con la gente de la Cienaga también.
No tiene las condiciones de vivienda para esa población. Están expuestos a cualquier evento de naturaleza.
Sí, llueve mucho, mucho. A mí por lo menos me vienen a la casa cuando llueve.
Yo digo que si me desarman me voy, pero si no, cuando ya no hay por vivir. Mira, es un modelo digno en Italia. Está creado por un plan urbanístico, pero viene hasta qué punto el nivel cultural de esas personas que tienen que entrenarse, tienen que recibir una serie de entrenamientos para vivir en comunidad.
La gente de lo que se disciplina, entonces ya no tiene problema, hay que disciplinar, eso es lo más importante.
Y el orden en lo que se
Aquí se cambian los viernes el plástico por comida. Nosotros lo pedimos todo bien. El trae una plástica, le dan una punta con jabón, leche, espagueti, avena, sal. Y a ver, como 500 pesos la comida. Como 500 pesos.
De manera que ellos puedan sustituir. Porque eso no puede sustituir no hacer una casa muy bonita. Si no tiene su trabajo, su modo de ver.
el niño pobreza extrema apenas quizás tiene 6 o 7 años.
Y el gobierno pasa mucho más.
Bueno, ellos pasan a veces en tiempo de elecciones. Ofrecen villas y castillos. No, nada.
Siempre el gobierno aporta, pero, o sea, eso es como un aporte de beneficio colateral, diría yo, porque cuando hay campaña o cuando hay algo para llamar la atención de que el tipo en verdad sí trabaja por el pobre. Una vez hablaron de la Cienaga, que se ve mal, que se ve, y yo dije, bueno, hay que hacer algo porque la Cienaga no se ve mal. Y arreglaron el freno. O sea, tú entras por ahí y tú dices, wow, qué belleza, vale. Pero no un pedazo.
Eso tiene que llegar a ser realizado. Que tiene que estar día por día, chequeando el uso que se le ha dado a cada una de esas viviendas. El uso de los baños sanitarios, la higiene, que no se puede poner a hacer modificaciones, tiene que cuidar nueva casa, darle facilidades para hacer más pobre el país. Para que pueda aquí permitir la vida, la base de bajo costo y de la tasa de interés. Mientras la tasa de interés sea más facilidad tiene la familia pobre, es muy más fácil.
Y en verdad uno tiene que ser un tema de su barriga. Y si no se encierra en el entorno normal y necesita eso, tiene algo enfrente. No hay ningún avance, ningún progreso.
Toda la familia tiene derecho a eso no es un privilegio, es una necesidad.
Due to Alejandro Aravena's global conclusion and design in Chile, a great impact has been made towards its change in this problem. Alejandro Aravena was challenged to innovate a favela located in the center of the city of Iquique in the north of Chile. He started testing what was already done. In detached houses, not many families could be accommodated. In row houses, only a few. The only way was by building in heights, like the government intended with La Barquita. However, results show that residents are not able to adapt. It is clear that a new idea had to be innovated. Let's say that a middle-class family lives reasonably well in a around 80 square meter house. But in this case, there is no money. When there is no money, what the market actually does is that they try to reduce the size instead of thinking of a 40 square meter house as a small house. So Mr. Aravena said, why don't we consider it half of a good one? When we rephrase the problem of half of a good house instead of a small one, then the key question is, which half do we do? Alejandro Aravena thought that these houses must be made with the public money, half of a house that families will not be able to do, such as the essential parts of the house, like the bathroom, the kitchen, and a bedroom or two. As a building, it could expand, but only if families kept their jobs and cared for the house. So houses built in Chile went into initial social housing, into a middle-class unit achieved by families themselves within a couple of months. So what if in La Cienaga, the government provided a frame, and from then, families take over. So with the right design, slums and favelas will not be the problem, but the only solution. Now, you may ask yourself, how can we fix the problem of flooding in these sectors? In the year 1998, Santo Domingo surpassed a huge tropical storm, Hurricane George, causing a widespread of damage of $1 billion. An estimate of 48,000 homes were destroyed, and 123,000 homes were in need of repair. The most damaged houses were the ones located near the Ozama River. As well, in the short film, residents from La Cienaga also describe the causes and troubles of whenever it rains. So how can we protect the homes from La Cienaga from being flooded? With Alejandro Aravena's power of synthesis design, he solved this problem in Chile. It is obvious that the land in the Ozama River will be occupied anyhow, because it's very near the city. So the government's alternative of forcibly moving residents away is unrealistic and impossible of finding a solution to this problem. Many residents will not agree since their job and life depends with the river. So, in Alejandro Aravena's alternative, he proposed housing with geographical answers. He said, what if in between the homes and the river, we build a forest? A forest that does not try to resist energy of nature, but dissipates it by introducing friction. A forest will eliminate the water and prevent future floodings. That may become the depth of this problem. Results show how this was confronted politically and socially in Chile, and it proves that the design power of synthesis is just an attempt to put at the innermost core of architecture the force of life. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Carmen, a lot of the SEE presentations rely on academic research. You read articles, you report on the articles that we've read, but you also took another step and you went and did some investigative, direct journalism, direct contact with the situation. Can you describe how the impact that had on you? I mean, how did it change your paper? How did it change you?
Well, since many of you know, I'm very interested in architecture. I want to study architecture. So within the research of architecture and just my research, I found many urbanistic architects that actually try to help these kinds of global problems around the world. And the one that most impacted me was Alejandro Aravena. And actually, this year, he won the Pritzker Prize. It's like a very well-known architecture prize. And he won it for doing this in Chile. So I think that really impacted me and the paper. Like, I actually plan, if I have the chance, I want to try this in the Dominican Republic because it could actually help if it actually helped in Chile. Yes. Any other questions?
You have a scale of how long of the forest would be needed to provide adequate protection and the cost of restoration and such?
In Chile, about 6 kilometers long, the river. So what they actually did is that it was about $40,000, something like that. But what he actually did is that he took different, from the government, the ministry was doing different projects around Chile. Like one of them, the Ministry of Tourism was doing a park in Chile. And he actually appealed and he asked him if he could give that money the project he wanted to build, and they actually helped him. Instead of building the park, they did that. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm curious to know how your thoughts about this topic changed from the time you started the project to when you finished it. What did you learn that was essential, and talk a little bit about that learning process?
Well, what really impacted me throughout this project was when I went to visit La Cienaga, because I knew the conditions of that sector, but I didn't know them in depth. And when I went to visit, I could notice the real problems in that area, such as hygiene. Like, people don't have any type of hygiene, like in bathrooms. They don't even clean it. That's the smallest part of their house. They don't even consider it as being a necessity. As well, many people live in very big families. So I think, like, when architects are trying to reestablish these people, they have to consider the amount of people who are going to live inside the house. Because, for example, in the short film, you could see that one of the houses that I presented, it was like the old woman's house. It was the biggest one in La Cienaga, and 12 people were living inside. So it's kind of a very big problem. Yes.
So I just think the government is considering that how large the family is in order to assign them a new housing, or they just building like a standard apartment. Like, you see that the people like on top of that, the new buildings that the government provides.
Like, in terms of La Barquita, this is not La Cienaga. This weren't people from La Cienaga. That was another favela located in Santo Domingo. And what they actually did is that they took another part located near Santo Domingo, and it's kind of an excluded land, and they actually built alternative houses there. They're supposed to have like schools and stuff, but it was last year, about 2 years ago or a year, they were going to give the apartments and everything, and it got delayed, and they couldn't give it to the people, and now it's like it's a year that they just don't have any houses, and it's the same problem. And also, there wasn't any type of like a control within the and everything. They just like counted people that were in La Barquita, and they said, okay, for you guys who are here, we're gonna build houses. But people still like inhabit those areas illegally. And what will happen for those who are still in La Barquita or go to La Barquita? Like there's not any control or any type of like control. Yes, there are.
For those who live illegally, will the government do anything to give them a house?
Well, for those who live illegally, I guess, well, all of them in La Barquita live illegally. So the government is actually doing houses for them and giving them a good place to live. But actually, one of the reasons that it's not working, that it's back to Ms. Cabral's question, is that it's very secluded and very far from the center of the city. The new establishments and lands that they have given them. And what they say, like in the short film that you can see, was that those sectors and favelas are very near the city. They can easily get to their jobs, and they have transportations, they have hospitals, but in La Nueva Barquita, which is from the government, it's actually much more harder to have transportation and all this stuff.
So what you're suggesting is not really to move the people, it's just to rebuild where they're living.
And also with the thing of the forests.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the growing of forest doesn't happen overnight. You can't build.
You speak up.
It takes time to build types of buildings and grow forests. So what would happen to the residents while the buildings are being built and the forest is being grown?
In that case, they will stay in their houses until it's built, because when they're built, they're gonna be moved. But okay, you're telling me about La Cienaga. If they build the houses in La Cienaga, or are you talking about if they move them to another sector? La Cienaga. I guess that there will be some kind of, the government will give them some kind of say, such as in barracks, something like that the government actually uses. And until, like, it took about 3 months in Chile to build the houses, so it's not much time. But when they build the alternative houses here in La Nueva Barquita, it has taken them like 2 or 3 years, so it's pretty messed up. Thank you.